So how are your experiences with SimCity 5 now that it's been out for a little while?
So far, my experiences are it's getting better at a glacial pace. They improved the traffic, and the traffic is improved. They work a little better. It still quickly happens because, not anymore because of the traffic, but because of how the Sims behave when they're trying to get to work. See, the game behaves in a very unusual communistic way where nobody has a house and nobody goes to the same job. When a Sim comes into the city, they move into a random house. When they leave that house to go to work, they may never go back to that house ever again. They're going to go to work, and when they leave their job, they may never go back to that job again. They go to the nearest house of their wealth level. So, and that's how it's done. And they do this in droves. So everybody's trying to get into this house, the house is full. They're trying to get into this house, the house is full. Really taxes your traffic because they're all doing that mentality. I mean, I don't mind that they don't live in their own houses. That's not the problem. The major problem is we will all try to go into this one building, and they're all thinking about this throughout the city. So everybody in the entire city tries to go to this one damn place. And you can imagine.
It sounds bad.
It boggles me. What the hell were they thinking? They're saying they're improving it, and this is one of the times where I'm just like, you shouldn't have put that in there in the first place. It should never have been like that. They tell me it's just how the glass box works, but there is no reason to make it so that it was like that. It could be like in SimCity 4 and all the other ones where the Sim goes home, they're trying to find a job, their job is locked in. Every time, every day, they will go to work at that job, and then they will go back home. And then you get to the weirder part where it comes back to commercial and happiness. Your Sims want to buy stuff because this is apparently a American idealist game where your people need to buy stuff to stay happy. Mm-hmm. So they go to the shop, and they try to buy something, and everybody droves into the nearest shop, whether or not it has anything in it or not, and this is what they do. And then afterwards they all leave. And this can cause traffic too, but has to drive to their shop to get stuff. Even that's not so bad. Then it gets kind of bad when the densities increase. You get the medium density, and suddenly you got all these people trying to get to one of these, into this building. It's got 300 jobs, that's 300 cars that are trying to get into it. Then you upgrade to get into the high density, and this is where it starts getting bad. You've got damn near 1,000 jobs, so that's 1,000 Sims all trying to go to the same building. All around town. Yeah, really bad. It causes severe traffic jams.
It doesn't make it unplayable, though.
No. If you know how to do your traffic, you can still play it very decently. All I told them literally is, if you gave me one-way streets, I could control these Sims. I could make them do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's not the case. Did you play the custom stuff on StarCraft yet, for Heart of the Swarm?
I played one called StarCraft RPG. It was a fan-made thing, but it's the only one that I played. I don't typically play multiplayer because I'm so bad.
Yeah, I usually play the turret defense. I love turret defense.
It stands to reason that there would be some League of Legends clones on there, since that is technically where it came from, was World of Warcraft 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And with all the customizations, surely there's a version of that on there too, somewhere.
Oh, there definitely is. I saw a couple on the first one. League of Legends and Dota are really weird. It seems more like a real-time strategy game to me, but they're like, that's not like that at all. And I'm like, please explain this concept to me, because to me, that's exactly what it is.
It's kind of a mix of things, because you can feel almost a sports side of things to it, because you have goals set on both sides. Mm-hmm. Neither side has an advantage. There's rules to the playing styles. So you have that. You have the RTS elements that is there. You don't actually control any individual characters except for your own, and in some cases, I'm sure there's some characters of summons that you have direct control over, but you don't see that very often. I know it was that way in Demigod. I'm not sure about the rest of them. But, so there is some light RTS elements simply because the control style is very reminiscent of it. And the rest of it is very Diablo/World of Warcraft because of your skill trees, your leveling up, the fact that you're only controlling the one character, and in some cases, like Smite, you actually control it like a third-person shooter. Of course, that's what makes Smite so much different than the rest of them.
Dota and League of Legends are so weird, I can't really categorize them at all. Well, people don't want to categorize them the way I think they are either, because all I see them are as a multiplayer RTS where you only control a single unit.
Which ironically isn't far from what Command & Conquer 4 was.
Yeah, to hell with Command & Conquer 4.
Command & Conquer Arena.
To hell with Command and Conquer 3 Red Alert.
They're rebooting the Command and Conquer, so
I hope they do it better next time. My major concern was with the Red Alert and the fourth one, but the fourth one wasn't so bad, was the fact that the hard counters on the units versing each other. And the older ones, yeah, it was pretty bad if you had a weak unit against a strong unit, but if you had enough of the weak unit, you could stomp that strong unit. And Command and Conquer Red Alert 3, no. I don't care if you have 1,000 of the weak unit. That one single strong unit will murder all of them. They will barely do any damage to it. And I just saw that, and I just turned the game off immediately, and I was like, I refuse to play this game.
I don't know why I didn't play Red Alert 3 all that much. I played a lot of Generals, I played a lot of Red Alert 2, but for some reason...
Oh, I love Red Alert 2.
Red Alert 3 is just... I remember it. I clearly remember it, because that was where the Japanese Empire came in. George Takei at the helm. Oh my. But, so I remember the game very clearly. It's just, I don't remember playing it that much. And it may have been reasons like that.
I love Yuri's Revenge. I love that expansion.
Mm-hmm.
I went crazy over that expansion. I love playing Yuri more than I love playing the other ones.
I had some cheap tactics with those paratroopers, though, so I like them.
Yeah, I mean, the AI was so confused about Yuri taking over other units. It would keep sending. You get later on, and the global guys would keep sending on those mammoth tanks, and I would just keep taking them over. And
I don't think I played the later Command and Conquers very much. I really only played the original.
Tiberium's Sun was actually a little too hard for me. I didn't like it very much.
That's actually my dad's favorite, because that's the one he can go into skirmish mode and not lose any troops on. So he insists on playing that one more than anything else. Granted, he's not playing on the hardest level, but he will take on sometimes... But he's taken on up to 5, I think.
Your dad's a beast. I can't even... That game is so hard to me.
He's just mastered how the AI reacts.
Mm-hmm. I played the holy hell out of Red Alert, but I played it on PlayStation, not on the computer. So
that was the same with me.
I mean, I think there is a map where there's 4 in the middle and 4 on the sides, and I know that map like the back of my hand.
I bet I can still remember the cheat codes for that, because I shamelessly use those.
You know what's crazy is I didn't cheat in those games. I never cheated. It was so weird, because I used to cheat all the time when playing video games. Like Wayne's World, oh yeah, I cheated.
Well, that's the thing that you pretty much have to, you know.
I've seen people beat it without cheating.
You got people that does speed runs of games like Soul Diver. I think they can handle Wayne's World.
Yeah, that is true. Just games that are so unfair. I do like Wayne World, where you fight in the final battle. Garth is like, ow, ow, when you're getting hit. When he's getting hit, it's just like, I don't know why that always cracked me the hell up. It also just seemed like a game where it was intentionally meant to be a joke. The entire game. Nothing was supposed to be taken seriously. The entire game is hilarious.
That's Wayne's World, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a parody of pop culture.
The ending is where they just talk until they actually use up all the memory on the Super Nintendo cartridge. And I thought that was just a joke, and then I found out that's true. They really did it. They squeezed the cartridge until it was full to the brim. Was it just rambling?
I know it's slightly off topic, but do you remember back in the days in the 16-bit era on how many megs were used in a game? I mean, there's a lot of jokes about the whole blast processing thing with Sonic and the Genesis, but every other game was bragging about how many megs the game had. Whether it was 8, 16.
Yes.
This game uses this much stuff. It's super powered.
Matter of fact, I think I have World Heroes 2 that brags about it having 24.
Star Fox.
Kind of believe.
Star Fox and their stupid system or whatever.
The FX chip?
That was a real thing.
Yeah, that was real. I know, because I pried that open one time when Star Fox broke and looked inside. The things are definitely attached to it. I was just like,
They didn't use it all that often. I mean, Stunt Race FX, Star Fox 1 and technically 2, even if it never did come out.
Yeah.
And Vortex, is Vortex the only non-Nintendo game that was ever used for? I think it was still Argonaut that made it, but...
Didn't one of the Super Scope 6 games use it?
Possibly, I don't remember offhand.
I swear one of them did. Maybe it didn't.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a ton of Mode 7 going on there.
Possibly. It's like a damn system itself. That thing was expensive. One of my cousins threw it on the ground, broke it.
I could see that thing being pretty easily broken. I mean, it's basically a big tube with glass on either end.
It was the first time I got in a fist fight with one of my cousins. It was like, oh, bitch, it's on.
Round 1.
Round 1.
Ultra combo.
Punch, kick, fight. Yeah, that thing was extremely fragile. People rage all the time, especially even back then. So it's just like, this thing broke because you threw it on the ground. I throw a controller on the ground about every other day.
Right. But thankfully, most of those zappers were either small enough that they could take an impact pretty well, or just really heavily made. I remember those Goncons before they got stolen were really heavy for plastic pieces. They were made really thick and heavy, and I don't think they would break too easily. But
have a
the Minister, which was the Sega Genesis Sapper, the kind
Which
of
one do you have, Mike?
looking thing.
I have I think it's GunCon 2. It was for the PlayStation. Because it came with that Time Crisis 2. You had that for a while. Yep.
I did.
It got pilfered. Let's talk about things that we got stolen from us that were game systems and stuff. A PlayStation 2 got it replaced, still had it. I had that one until it broke. Dreamcast got stolen, which is ironic because I let my friend borrow it. It was my Phantasy Star Online game with my maxed out level characters, and it got stolen, and I was sad. I was very sad. I didn't even care about the other games. I was just like, please tell me they didn't take Phantasy Star Online. And they're like, it's all gone. I'm like, no.
They took your VMU.
Mm-hmm. I actually had someone steal my Sega Genesis, and this wasn't a family member, so because I think the other ones might have, except for the Dreamcast. The PlayStation, I'm almost certain was a family member. But someone stole my Sega Genesis, and I had like 200 plus games on it, I swear. I had so many games. And a pawn shop called one day, and they're like, does Grover Rockwood live here? My dad was just like, yeah, my son lives here. He's like 11. What do you want? And they're like, we got a Sega Genesis and a bunch of games, and all these games have his name on it. And of course, we got them all back for free. It was the one time it was just like, hell yes. Why did I get all the games back? I actually counted, and I was like, we're missing 20 games. And there's like, you got some back. Quit bitching. You didn't think you were ever going to get any back at all. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Extremely rare. And kind of a point that a lot of people make that marking the names on them and stuff is going to ruin their appreciation value and that kind of thing. And that's probably true. But at the same time, because they're marked, stuff like that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, ironically, that didn't save me very much because I had a habit back in the day, not at all anymore, but I was such a Vidiot game nut. Yes, Vidiot. I still use Vidiot. But that I would have all my game manuals in one place, so anytime I needed to reference something, and it was usually for something completely off-related from the game itself. So all of those games that got stolen, most of them I still have the manuals to, because they were empty when they were stolen. So I have evidence of all of the games that were stolen. But when I went around to all the different pawn shops, basically with a list of if this particular group of games comes in, let me know. But yeah,
never heard anything back.
In a lot of cases, they said, "Oh, we won't take games that don't have books in them." Even the Game Exchange said that. And then how do I keep ending up buying games with no books in them if that's true?
Yeah,
Really?
I call royal bullshit on that.
That was before
I've had to
GameStop
have
moved into the neighborhood too. So
yeah, that's true. Hollywood Video and all that stuff. I do miss being able to go rent games and stuff like that from Hollywood and Blockbuster.
A little bit.
Oh, actually, I would never go to Blockbuster. I always buy it. Because they'd always, after a game weared down a little bit, they'd always sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd announce it. They'd do it like every couple months. And they would put something on the paper, selling all of our used games. Come now, first come, first serve, $15 game, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, they did a buy two, get one free one time I was visiting Mike and picked up Castlevania Lament of Innocence, Lament of other things too, but Soul Calibur 2, and I think it was Max Payne 2. And I picked them all up for basically $25, I think.
Sweet.
And they were practically still brand new in those days. They were maybe 6 months old. Granted, the game's conditions weren't quite so good. I think my Max Payne actually had the wrong instruction book for something else in it, and my Castlevania both had no book, and it was in a makeshift cover. Despite the fact it has the original cover on it, it was in a different plastic. So, you know, the ones with the little security strips they have to pull off at the counter? It was one of those things. Used those a lot when I was working in a movie rental place myself.
Oh, wasn't that family owned?
That one was, yeah.
Oh, wow, you had it made. Damn.
He was a pretty good boss. A little strict sometimes. Gave the girls a lot more leeway than they ever gave me, but that comes with the territory.
So let's go into our thoughts on pre-order. And for me, I honestly think I've thought of an interesting way that they could have possibly had no issues whatsoever with SimCity. If they just like did a beta thing like Minecraft and be like, hey, we're just going to release this. You guys are pre-ordered. We're not ready, but we're going to release this as a beta. And you guys are going to get the fun task of doing beta testing for the next couple months.
Do you think the major companies will ever actually do that, though? It's very commonplace in indie games.
Yeah, but it's virtually non-existent in AAA company games. I think that they could make a lot of money if they ever did that.
I don't know, maybe they're worried about, oh, this game is crap, it doesn't play right, they released it too early sort of mentality, because AAA games tend to get that even when they do come out and say there's certain things that we have to fix, yada yada. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here and figure out some reason why they would be that way.
I think one major thing is almost somewhat greed, because you're just...
Wouldn't you make just as much money otherwise? Maybe even more?
Yeah, that's what I think. You'd make even more money doing that. Income knees. I enjoy not having a mute button on my headphones.
I think there's some prinnies in the other room that just exploded after that. Can't stand the pressure. Anyway,
I gotta be careful when I'm jumping usually, because I just tend to blow up and then I'm back in hell again.
that's what we get for these little feet. Feet? These feet?
Try these feet when you're trying to take a dog outside and you gotta go downstairs and the dog's trying to get down the stairs.
Just
Not
remember to
feel
bend your
all the
knees.
time.
Oh, wait.
We've had to repair the basement stairs like 20 times now because I just blow up and completely takes them out.
And a short little mention, next week we have something very special planned for everybody for April Fools, so you'll either hate us for it or you'll have a great time. We'll find out. But yes, pre-orders. I don't have anything wrong against the idea of the pre-order. I know it's giving money to something that doesn't exist yet, and that always seems a little strange, but it's more like a down payment. I mean, most people don't pre-order outright buying the entirety of the game before it's ever come out. And I know there's been some controversy about some of those. We didn't do research for this right off, so remembering things off the top of my head. But it may be in even stuff like the likes of Duke Nukem Forever. I think you could pre-order it once upon a time at several different points, and because the game never came out, there was always these return policy problems. And of course, when it finally did, I wondered if they had some pre-order problems even then. They're just doing this again. It's not really coming out.
No, it was actually really interesting for Duke Nukem Forever. They said, you have pre-order slip from any of those times, and we can prove it, you get your game.
Not only that, if you had a pre-order slip that was that old, they gave you a massive swag bag.
I remember
belt
that.
belt buckles and posters and stuff that nobody that bought the collector's edition even got.
Yeah, it was awesome. I just remember seeing a couple people get that. They're like, my waiting was worth it. Then they played the game and they're like, what the
Impromptu Kickstarter.
Yep.
I actually didn't have as big of a problem with the game as other people did. There were some issues, but I knew what I was... Yeah, I knew what I was buying. It's not like I was buying a Duke Nukem Forever game and was like, oh, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. It's going to be better than every other game out there. It's like, no, it's going to be Duke Nukem.
Expectations.
Yeah,
It's going to be Duke Nukem running on an older engine. What's everybody expecting?
Exactly.
And it wasn't just the engine. It was, like Mike's mentioned several times about the Sessler review, it's also about the times have changed where the humor is very 90s. And it's like everybody was expecting the humor to be modernized. If it was modernized, it wouldn't be Mr. Nukem anymore, now would it?
No.
Exactly.
Duke Nukem is all about parodying the action movies of the late 80s and 90s.
And I hated X-Play for that review because they are not ones to talk about humor.
No.
They have some of the stupidest bullcrap humor. Hot kettle. That's all I'm saying.
No.
It would be like modernizing Max Headroom.
A little bit of that, yeah. Of course, Max Headroom had some clever psychological humor to him every now and then. I don't remember the show and the commercials as well as I want to, but I do remember enough of it that there was some clever stuff in there. It was like The Tick. A lot of it was, pure childish, but every now and then there would be some alliteration in there that would make you just crack up when you realize what he just said.
Did they make a Rocko's Modern Life video game?
I think so. It seems like they did, but there's a couple of games that was highly publicized and never actually got made, like Socks the Cat.
Bobby's World. I don't think there was ever a Hey Arnold one. And I know for sure there was never a Doug one. Although it was one of my favorite shows as a kid.
It could have been like Animal Crossing.
Yeah, I watched Doug all the time too.
There were so many of them that I'm wondering if games came out for that. I can't. It's kind of weird because there weren't games coming out for those, but Author, that one kids show, PBS show, got a game. I know for sure. I remember because I think I played it or something. Actually, I can't remember if Rugrats got one. I think.
Oh yeah.
Did they?
They got one for every movie, and I think they had a couple of off the side. I know that there was at least one that was kind of a Mario Kart knockoff. Not Mario Kart, Mario Party.
I just wonder that the games had the same humor that the show did, because that show has some pretty high-level humor. It was
Probably
just that,
not. You know how they stupid down stuff for video game audiences.
Yeah, they dumb it all down, and plus Nintendo's just like, no.
Nintendo is a strange beast when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, very, very unusual.
And the biggest point you could possibly make about how, I don't know if I'd call it even hypocrisy, it's just strange behavior, was the whole thing behind Mortal Kombat with the censoring of the blood into the sweat and how they were standing before Congress and the Senate about the whole ESRB and monitoring games and protecting children and stuff like that. Not a year later, them and Rare created Killer Instinct.
Yeah.
What?
What?
So you know they were in production even while these things were going on. They were like, we're making
this
a
is horrible.
But see, these aren't real people. These are all computer graphics turned into computer graphics. So the blood's okay then, right? Or something. I don't know.
I have no clue what the hell they were thinking. I just remember never being allowed to play Mortal Kombat, ever. I mean, until later on, when I was older. But I remember me and my cousins even chipped in to buy the game. This is something that, didn't really happen often. We were little money-hungry things, and we'd buy candy and stuff, but we chipped in and had enough to buy it. And we gave it to them, and they said, because they said something and that backfired. They said, if you pay for it for yourself, we'll get the game for you. And they're like, they're never gonna save that money up. And we did. And they came back for the game, but it wasn't Mortal Kombat. And at first, we were really mad. It was Tasmania or something, and it was the one where you're running down the street chasing the Kiwis. Yeah, that was the one. And I don't know why, but we forgave him because that game was awesome. If not crazy hard in the later levels.
I didn't have a lot of experience with Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct, back in the day, because I wasn't allowed to play games like that, really.
Oh, good. So you're like me.
Yeah.
I knew some families that completely refused to have games in their home anyway.
Yeah, one of my friends, his parents would not buy him games. They're like, and they actually used me as an example once. They're like, look at your friend, he keeps getting low grades, and his parents told us that's because he's playing those games all the time.
I mean, games certainly don't help a lot of things, especially as this whole violence controversy thing continues to build. But at the same time, it is hardly the downfall of America. We were having problems long before video games. We were having different kinds of problems, even if they disappeared. I do think there needs to be some, not limits or limitations, not laws or rules, but I think some soul searching from the companies to realize when it shouldn't be about pushing the envelope and more about entertainment. Because if you're selling a game simply for the shock value, and don't tell me they don't, then that's becoming a problem.
I like to play a game because it's enjoyable. I mean, that's my number one reason. You've got to do stuff. Family Guy is my version of shock value, and that's the only reason that damn show is popular. And they started doing that in games too, and I'm just, usually most games that do that are utterly worse. Unless they're a horror game, which that's fine. When Silent Hill does crazy stuff like that, that's perfectly fine because it's expected. It's Silent Hill.
It's supposed to shock you. That's why I didn't really have a problem with Dead Space being the way it was. But when they started advertising it as such as well, it's kind of like, you're marketing this because of its violence and because of its gore. You're not marketing it as it's scary because of this. You're marketing as it's fun and awesome because of it.
Yeah, it has all their shock value. You love it. And they're not, instead of saying this is a story immersing game that also has a bit of shock value.
And I think that's where Silent Hill does things a little better than most, is because of such the deep psychological impact. It's not just about the creatures. It's about setting the mood and the story. And it's a lot of stuff people don't get. I've played quite a bit of Silent Hill 1 and 2 and seen quite a bit of 3 and 4. And that's about when they stopped being good, mind you.
I watched the movies, and then I watched somebody play them on live stream, and I was just like, wow, this is actually pretty cool.
I've seen some introspectives about the Silent Hill series, and people that pointed out theories and stuff like that. That game is probably one of the game series is probably one of the biggest conspiracy games out there of how these things tie together and what really was happening and everything. And a lot of it is canon. It's just, it's so deep about the stuff that's actually going on, and people just don't realize it.
Oh, I love that in game. When Valve is fantastic for that, where people come up with conspiracies and everything, and then Valve loves to throw their little tiny hint and rumor out, and it makes everybody, all the conspiracy people, go completely crazy. And it's actually how Portal 2 got discovered, because they put out those achievements. And all it was a bunch of beeping, and people realized it was SOS. And then they're like, wait a minute, that sounds like SOS, but that also sounds like noise from a transmission when you're getting videos over wireless or whatever, and they used that and started finding the images. And it's like, all of this came because they were beeping.
When game companies do something really tricky like that, I mean, most of the time they don't get any more tricky than the "you are not ready" thing that the PlayStation did back in the day. And then there was ones that really made an effort. I believe it was Halo 2 with the bees. That was one of the most ridiculously fantastic undercover publicity stunts I think that's ever been done in gaming, because it was a viral format. It was a website that was supposedly hacked, and I Love Bees is what's probably affectionately called now. But
I love turtles.
That's a different name.
I like turtles.
Yeah, it was for 5-Gum, if I'm thinking about the same thing.
Neopets did something like that too, early on.
It was like you put in your information, and they send you a badge or whatever. No, we're not talking. That was Halo. I Love Bees was Halo.
Yeah. I'm just going to read the Wikipedia thing here just for the folks at home. I Love Bees, or ILB for short, was an alternate reality game that was served as both a real-world experience and a viral marketing campaign for the release of developer Bungie's 2004 video game Halo 2. Yada 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 yada. I Love Bees was first advertised by a subliminal message in Halo 2 trailer. Players who investigated the website discovered that the pages appeared to be hacked by mysterious intelligence. As players solved puzzles, audio logs were posted to ilovebees.com site, which was gradually revealed more of the fictional backstory involving a marooned artificial intelligence stranded on Earth in its attempts to put itself back together. I Love Bees was a marketing success. 250,000 people viewed I Love Bees' website when it was launched in August of 2004, and more than 500,000 returned to the site every time the pages were updated. More than 3 million visitors viewed the site over the course of the following 3 months, and thousands of people around the world participated in the game itself. I Love Bees won numerous awards for its innovation and helped spawn numerous other alternate reality games for video games.
That's awesome.
So more stuff like that would be very interesting, simply because as far as video game history goes, it stands out as far as marketing campaigns go, far above most others I can recall.
Yeah, I don't think there's been many, except for the Valve stuff, that's went that crazy. Silence.
Tumbleweed. Any last remaining blithering thoughts that go any direction you want to go?
Well, this is such a hectic week. I mean...
Yeah, it seems like you've had quite a bit going on. And I think Mike's finally getting settled down after everything that's been going on. I mean... So yeah, plug Mike's channel here. He'll be streaming under twitch.tv Ruzaz, which is...
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to follow you when I'm done.
So yeah, we'll link that somewhere in the description. Well, in the description, but right here. Yeah, thank you, Edna.
What time are you going to stream?
I don't have a schedule.
Are you just going to stream whenever you feel like it, or are you going to stream every time you're playing a game? Or?
I'll probably stream when I'm playing. So if I'm home, I'll probably be streaming. Sydney is buying BioShock Infinite. I don't think her computer is going to be able to run it. In fact, I would be surprised if my computer ran it without problems.
Just have to shift around some of the graphics a little bit.
Yeah, and so she's telling me that she's going to be playing it on my computer. So what I'll probably do is I'll sneak a stream in there of her playing the game. So she won't know she's being recorded, but she will be.
You guys are all doing this without mics, though, so that'll be a little less embarrassing for her, I'm sure, when she realizes.
I have a microphone. I've got it set up to work. It's pretty good at capturing sound. It's really hard for me to, if I breathe in or out, or it seems to be able to pick it up. So it doesn't really have very much noise canceling on it as far as that goes. So if I just lay it down next to where she's going to be playing, I'll probably be able to catch any reaction she has. I'll probably be in enough trouble when she figures it out that I'm actually recording video.
Yeah, I think she might kill you too.
Yeah, a little bit.
Goodbye, Mike. It was nice knowing you.
That's the other thing. I won't be able to watch my chat very easily.
I got 2 monitors.
Oh, that's right.
I have a second monitor, but Sydney's using it, so...
Yeah. Just have to get somebody on Skype there to tell you what everybody's saying in chat.
Yeah.
Hey, I've seen it done before. And I guess that's our show for this week. You can get us on Twitter at PrinnyCast, and our email is prinnycast@gmail.com. Got those 2 streams to keep up with now. Our YouTube channel, which I don't think I need to bother mentioning because that's where you're likely watching this. And then, of course, Grover's at PCGOTW. And, about the game collection thing, it's moving a little slow because, well, thankfully it's not as been stressful as Grover's week has been. It has been a very busy one work-wise, so I've been working my tail off. Part of the reason why I don't have very many games on my games this week. But I do have a lot of stuff filmed. I'm just not really happy with my dialogue. Because it's strange. For PrinnyCast, this part is the fun part, the audio. And then when the video comes in, I get stressed. It's the exact opposite when I'm doing the video game stuff. That's the fun part, doing the filming and the game capture. And then when I have to describe them, that's when the problems come. So, yeah. Because I'm trying to make the videos as short as possible, so I'm not rambling, I'm not wasting people's time, so that's why I have edited audio. But I am not sure I'm liking the current direction, and I'm not sure where to take it from here. So I haven't gotten a lot of feedback.
Find it.
That's pretty much how it's probably going to be. I'm going to finish out the Atari collection the way I did the first video, and after that, I change things up a little bit. So I'll try to get one of those out this week along with the 2 parts of PrinnyCast. And who knows what happens after that? Except for next weekend is that crazy, crazy podcast. We'll see you all next time.
See you next time.
See you later.